let's bring in Gerry Dulac right now, Steelers radio network host and our go-to guy in Pittsburgh. Gerry, we just played a soundbite of Justin Fields sounding like a guy who knows he's about to lose his starter's job. Is that happening in Pittsburgh, Gerry, do you think?
You know, Rich, I was listening to Justin Fields half hour or so ago when he said that. Yeah, I do think he's going to lose his job. I also think he is being a little hard on himself because, and you've heard me, Rich, in our past conversations, this plot twist isn't forming. It's been brewing for a long time. And the plan since the offseason that the Steelers spent several months discussing how to be better, how to get into the postseason, how to win a playoff game after 7 years of not doing so, how to become a contender again. They felt they needed to upgrade the quarterback position immediately, and the plan was to do so by bringing in Russell Wilson. And that has always been the plan. And now they feel it's time to execute that plan, that he's healthy. And, go way back to when Mike Tomlin said Russell Wilson was in the pole position. Yeah, he was in the pole position the entire time. And it was always going to be this way. All that being said, I'm just a little surprised that he's doing it right now. But they felt there are, deficiencies in their passing game. They didn't want Justin Fields throwing in the middle of the field. He's not allowed to audible. He can check down. He can check out of a play. But, we shall see how this will all play out. But this was all part of their plan that they spent months discussing. And so they weren't going to let 6 weeks change their mind or change their plan.
So picking up a couple of strands that you had right there, Gerry, that what Russell Wilson can do is something that Justin Fields has not been able to do. And that's their philosophy. That's their thought, that his neck up ability, his totality of his resume, to use the phrase that Mike Tomlin used, is going to allow this offense to do more because he is a veteran who's been able to play in a certain way that Fields cannot. Am I picking up on that, Gerry?
I think that's exactly right, Rich. Now, is that going to happen Sunday night against the Jets immediately? Well, I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to guess probably not. Let's face it, Russell Wilson's played only 6 series in the preseason, just 1 in the final preseason game. So I would imagine there's a certain amount of rust that he has to knock off. But again, if this is what they feel they need to do, and this was their plan all along, then let's get it rolling. Also, I think what it does to Rich, it helps them identify, and this isn't at the top of the checklist, but it helps them identify what they have at wide receiver. They know what they have at George Pickens, but they have very little else. And so, I learned this a long time ago, and I'm sure you know this, Rich. Great receivers don't make an average quarterback better, but great quarterbacks make average receivers better. And I think having Russell Wilson will allow them to determine what do they have at wide receiver other than George Pickens. We know they've danced with the idea of a number 2 receiver, Brandon Ayuk. They inquired about Devontae Adams, even though they knew he was only going to go with either Aaron Rodgers or Derek Carr. They were going to bring in Mike Williams before the Jets gave him a 1-year, $15 million offer before he can ever get to Pittsburgh. But I think this allows them now with a quarterback to see, okay, yeah, we are lacking at that position, and maybe we need to do something before the trade deadline.
Gerry Dulac here on the Rich Eisen Show. So what have they seen from Russell Wilson to make them think that the let Russ cook Russ of old can be the guy that can get them up to speed for that bulk of their schedule that's all AFC North teams, Gerry?
Yeah, and Rich, the simple answer to that is, well, that's what they're going to find out, but they believe with his experience going through progressions, reading defenses, and I don't mean any of that as a criticism of Justin Fields, but let's face it, Russ has been in the league 13 years. Justin Fields has been in the league 4. Justin Fields won 10 games in 3 years. Russ is one of the all-time, certainly among the active quarterbacks, leaders in victories, if not even passing yards. So I know the question is, okay, is this the same Russell Wilson at 35 that he was at 28? Well, probably not. But the Steelers believe that what they have with him can make them a more well-rounded offense, again, because they were so limited in the passing game. And they limited Justin Fields. It wasn't just because Justin Fields couldn't do it. It's just that they just felt, that maybe this is the way they were going to approach. They managed him very well. A guy who threw 30 interceptions in Chicago has thrown only 1 in 6 games. And that's not only testament to Justin Fields, that's testament with the way they have handled him. They've always asked Justin Fields, don't try to win the game, just don't lose it. Well, and he's done a pretty good job of that.
And obviously, Tomlin's saying there's a difference between being good and great.
Right.
That's kind of dovetails into having a quarterback that you say, don't blow it, let us try and win it, and then hand it to him basically a couple of times and say, do it with your legs. I mean, they're 4-2 in part because of Justin Fields not blowing it, but actually winning it, Jerry. And so that's why are we going to have a package, do you think? Or are they going to just completely move on and hand it to Russ?
Rich, I asked Arthur Smith just a little while ago before I came on with you, if Russell Wilson is the starter, which of course it appears to be the case, will you have a package for Justin Fields? And he kind of, laughed it off and said, well, that's all part of strategy. And I'm certainly not going to tell you that. But I go back to what he said, if not the preseason, early in the season. He said he is dangerous with the ball in his hands. And to me, why would you not take advantage of that? We, in certain situations, have a package for Justin Fields. And if nothing else, not that they're interested in soothing somebody's feelings. And, go back to your earlier point. Yes, that was a very mature, responsible answer by Justin Fields. And we have seen that the entire time. He has a cool demeanor. He's somewhat unflappable. And if he's, quote, taking responsibility for his play, which, again, I don't think he needed to do, but that just shows you the way he has handled this entire situation. But I think it would behoove them, give him a package or two and let him know that, look, 1, we appreciate what you did, but 2, more importantly, you can help this team in certain situations. And it's a great benefit to us to have, meaning the Steelers, to have him available to help them win games.
Yeah, especially since the last guy who sensed he was losing his job to Russell Wilson said something and put him in green across the state. You know what I mean? And right. So Fields had a completely different answer. If Kenny Pickett had that answer, he might still be there. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's kind of crazy, Jerry. It's crazy.
Yeah, and that's the reason Justin Fields is here. And go back to what I said earlier about the plan to bring in Russell Wilson. Justin Fields wouldn't be here if Kenny Pickett didn't throw his hissy fit and demand to be traded once they signed Russell Wilson. And so I think what happened too, Rich, is, let's face it, whether nationally, well, especially nationally and out of Chicago, the bar was set so low for Justin Fields. Everybody criticizing him for being a bust, 3 years in Chicago, only 10 wins. So the bar was set so low that what he's done here, he's far exceeded the expectations. And that has all played into, who Justin Fields is, or certainly the way he is being perceived, not only locally, but nationally now.
Jerry, you're the man. Thanks for the time. Greatly appreciate it. Look for more of my calls, certainly after we see Russ Sunday night, right? That's what we're going to see?
Rich,
is it going to happen?
Yeah, I'd be shocked if we didn't. And, Rich, when you call, I answer.
Gerry Dulac, everybody. Thanks again, brother. You be well.
All right, man.
We'll chat again soon. At Gerry with a G, Dulac. On X, right there on The Rich Eisen Show. Catch The Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku Channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.